Hello everyone. It is Monday, May 11th. I did a vlog this morning on the way to work, but I live a minute away from work, and I was trying to record and then I was still gonna do it, and my coworker pulled up next to me and was like trying to talk to me, so I'm like, yeah, I guess I'll do this after work. So Goose egg this morning. I was still 244.6. Yesterday I was really hungry all day yesterday. Not all day, just in the afternoon. Very, very hungry. So I was making my second meal. Some chicken, some baked chicken, and I literally was starving. I needed food and I could not wait for my chicken. Hindsight, I should have just grabbed some pickles or something as a vegetable. But I really don't know that would have satisfied my hunger. Anyways, I grabbed a medium-sized handful of nuts, and I just needed them, and I could have definitely. My son had some cookies, and I could have grabbed those, but I said, no, I'm going to have something healthy. So I had a handful of raw mixed nuts, and still ate my chicken. Still was hungry after that, but at least I knew, okay, I ate, more than I needed to, so even if I'm hungry, too bad. So that's what happened. I also, yesterday all day, had horrible, cramps, it felt like period cramps, but I don't know. I guess it could have just been gas, which is kind of gross to talk about, but I had a lot of gas last night, so that's probably what it was. I've heard that feels similar. But, yeah, I had a ton of gas last night, and I'm really constipated, so I've been taking magnesium and stuff like that, but we'll see. Drinking tons of water as usual, so wasn't dehydrated, but I don't know. It's just what's going on. It's just what's going on with me. So I thought it might be nice to talk. I'm not hungry at all today, by the way. I thought it might be nice, especially because I started watching the newbies. They're not newbies anymore, but to me they were new. I started kind of watching you guys in the middle of your rounds, and I did go back this weekend and watched a lot of old vlogs, but I never caught where you guys are from, or where you live and all that stuff. So I thought it might be nice. I know where all the people that have been around for a while that I've been, except Felice HCG, I don't know where you live, but everybody else I know, kind of more about them because I've been following them for so long. But so I'm Crystalline, for those of you who don't know. That's my name, and I live in Minnesota. So I moved, actually, since the last time I vlogged. I was in Wisconsin. I grew up in Wisconsin, right over the border, and that's where I lived when I moved back to this area, up until December. So we just moved to Minnesota because I work in Minnesota, and I was sick of the drive. I was sick of the 30-minute commute. Well, it was 45 minutes with traffic, so I just couldn't deal with it anymore. So anyways, live in Minnesota. So one thing this is what I was trying to talk about when my coworker was giving me some plants and trying to talk to me, but I kind of mentioned my mom's issues with food, and kind of vaguely mentioned it, and Sarah was like, tell me more, what was your mom issue with food, because you kind of just mentioned it and didn't elaborate. So this is just going to be kind of background of my food issues, and kind of what stems from my mom, and just all that kind of stuff. So if you're not interested in hearing about that, just turn it off, because I'm done with my check-in. But so my mom, if I start from the beginning, my mom, she has an older sister who's 2 years older than her, my aunt, and when they were younger, my aunt was very tall and skinny, and one of those people that could eat whatever she wanted and not exercise, not do anything, and not gain weight. Now, just a sidebar, that did not last. My aunt is, I've never known her to be skinny. Like, my whole life, she's never been skinny. She's always been overweight to me. And, you know, so I was born when she was probably like in her 40s. So, you know, I mean, I think that did not last. That was very short-winded for her, probably like a high school thing, and then she started gaining weight, you know, after she got married or whatever. So, back from the sidebar, my mom's mom, my grandma, always treated her differently anyways, not even just about food. Like, she knew that I'm learning that my grandma was like a horrible person. So, I've always just known her as this sweet old lady, but she was not a very nice person. She's still alive, and she's, you know, she's nice enough now, but she has like dementia and stuff. And I just, you know, I found out that like growing up in her house was not really a great place to grow up in. But, so, you know, my mom was always like treated differently anyways, but especially with food, you know, my mother or my grandma would say like, you can't have that because you're too fat, or, you know, you're not like your sister where you can eat whatever you want and stuff like that. So my mom's food issues began at a very young age. And, so I think that she probably went through a lot. I would think, I'd never really talked to her about it, because she just mentioned, she's a really private person with a lot of stuff, which when I tell you what she used to do, you'll see that she was a very private person. But, so she, you know, I can imagine that she did a lot of starving herself and then binging, because that's kind of what I saw as she got older. But, I could imagine that, you know, her mom drove her to like kind of not eat very much. And then, you know, one day she just couldn't take it anymore, so she'd eat. And, you know, I could see her doing that. And I look back at pictures of my mom and I compare them to pictures of my aunt. My aunt is really tall. I mean, like 5 inches taller than my mom. My mom is like 5'3". Well, she says she's 5'5". But I definitely don't think so. Well, anyway, you know, my aunt's a little bit taller. She has that real, like, she has a round face now, but she had, like, the oval face. And, you know, she didn't have any curves. She was just stick thin. My mom, on the other hand, had a little bit of a rounder, fuller face. I mean, I get that, honestly, from her. Even when I'm skinny, I still have a round face, which I think is not a bad thing at all. And I think it's probably more attractive, really, when you're skinny and you have a rounder face and not that oval face, when you don't look like your cheeks aren't like sunken in. I think it looks good. So my mom had that. My mom has curves, you know, she had curves. And so she, you know, she looked good. Like, I don't know, it's just weird. Like, it's weird that my grandma perceived her as being, like, so big. So she, like, just put this in my mom's mind that she was big. And so my mom, you know, she had 5 kids before me. Like, she had 5 kids, 2 kids right in a row, all together. My dad is overweight, has been overweight. He used to be like super skinny, like before, like in high school, he could eat whatever he wanted, whatever. And he has always been fat since they got married. They said that their treat was made a fudge every night. Like, so you ate the whole thing of fudge? That sounds like a lot of food. But anyways, my dad just eats a lot of food. He's fat. He owns it. Like, he, you know, doesn't really care. He diets a lot, and he will go down and then go back up, go down. But he's not like, he doesn't have, those are his issues with food. He just eats too much. He doesn't like have like, I don't think he has like emotional issues to food. I could be wrong, but that's just my perception for him. But for my mom, she's so attached to food emotionally. Not anymore. I will tell you what. This is what I saw growing up. She was so attached to food emotionally. that it was always, you know, we always drank diet sodas. You know, we always had margarine in the house. We had spray butter. What the heck is even in that? We had, you know, low fat or non-fat everything. Sour cream, no fat sour cream, fat-free this, fat-free dressings, you know, everything like that everything was fat-free. But then like sugar, I don't know, like the whole sugar thing like didn't come about till I think more recently that sugar is so bad for you. So we'd have things like Twizzlers that are, you know, fat-free, but they're not sugar-free. You know, and that's what, you know, here's a better choice for you. Like I might want M&Ms, but my mom would be like, let's stick with the licorice. Like it's, you know, or the gummy bears, something like that that's, you know, less fat. Now for me, I probably prefer my child to eat chocolate over the other stuff because at least it has some fat. At least it has, you know, the cocoa and stuff has some nutritional value. Not a whole lot, but I think it's a better choice than gummy bears. So, you know, that's the kind of stuff. Also, for my siblings growing up, because I came 10 years later. So for my siblings growing up, they had a locked closet where they didn't have any good food. All my siblings for lunch, like had a sandwich and a fruit and, you know, milk or something, or, you know, that's pretty much all they had. And they didn't get to have like chips or anything like that. My parents were the ones who ate that. I didn't have that growing up because I came 10 years later. So looking back, like even when my, you know, siblings were like in middle school, high school, or middle school, elementary school. My mom was overweight, but not obese at all. She was just, I mean, she was just a little stockier, probably from having kids, and but she was very, very active. They did a lot of, she was a nurse, so she was always working. You know, she did a lot of stuff. They did a lot of like roller skating and different things like that. So they definitely stayed busy. And she never like gained a whole lot of weight. When I was 10 years before I was born, right after my sister was born, the one that's closest to age in me, my mom fell down the stairs. And so she can't exercise. Like she couldn't exercise after that. She was a nurse, so she saw too many, back surgeries go wrong and all that stuff. So she just, she couldn't exercise. It was too painful for her. She didn't get her back fixed. And so she, you know, she gained a lot of weight. And so, you know, she had me. She still didn't look that, she wasn't like obese even then. Like it really took her a long time to like get to the point where she became obese. And I always remember her being overweight and close to being obese, if not obese. So, and then I didn't really realize how big she was even until my sisters and I were looking at some home videos a couple years ago. I'm like, wow, our mom was really big. Like I didn't, you know, it's kind of funny how you remember people differently than they are. But so she, you know, has, ever since I've been alive, or like that I remember, she's been overweight. And so when I was growing up, my mom, you know, made my dad and I, it was basically just my dad and I, because all my other siblings were out of the house. She would make us dinner and she would never eat. And this was the same, like if she made a big, huge meal, like if everybody was over for Christmas or whatever, she would make it and she would not eat. She would not eat in front of us. Like, I seriously don't think I ever remember her eating in front of me unless we were at a restaurant, which was not very often. My parents are very frugal. They're actually very, very wealthy, but they live like they're poor, which is probably a good thing to do. But we would go to, like, I remember we went to Burger King a lot. Like, that was our, like, you know, once in a while after church treat was Burger King or Old Country Buffet, which is nasty. I hate buffets. It's just dirty and gross. I don't trust them. But, so, you know, I would see her eat a salad when we went to the buffet place, which she would make this huge plate of salad, eat about a third of it, and make my dad eat the rest of it. First of all, why are you forcing food on my dad? He's already big. He's going to eat what he wants. We're at a restaurant. Don't make him eat with your food. Anyways. And then at Burger King, because they would have like Whoppers 2 for $4, like back in the day or whatever, 2 for $3 maybe even. I don't even remember. But so we would get Whoppers, and so she would eat a half of a Whopper and then, you know, give the rest to my dad. And that's pretty much all I remember. I remember her talking. She loved onions. I remember her talking about onions a lot. I don't ever remember her eating a whole lot of onions, because my dad hated onions. So I remember that, like, little tiff in between them. But, so, you know, but my mom, she had in her room when I was growing up, tons of, like, cookies, like, well, not Oreos, not the name brand, but the sandwich cookies. She had licorice. She loves black licorice. And, you know, she had this stuff stashed in her room, and she would eat it. Crackers, cookies, things like that. So I really think all my mom ever ate was junk food. We would have, like, candy bars in the freezer that were frozen. I know she would eat those. And it was like, I remember back now, and I remember her, like, she would hide wrappers and stuff. Like, if I came in the room, if I just came into her bedroom, she'd be, like, hiding wrappers and stuff. And so, you know, it's like, she's just a food hider. She would eat when people weren't watching her. And, you know, I kind of have caught myself doing that a few times. And, before I really said, okay, I'm gonna look at my, you know, what I'm doing, my habits with eating, things like that, and really kind of curtail that a little bit. But I've caught myself, like, I don't want my husband knowing that I'm eating this. And so I'm really, you know, I'm amazed at how easy that is to do. Like, you know, I won't eat that now, but I'll eat it later, you know, when everybody's in bed. It's like, why? They know that I'm overweight. Like, they know that I eat too much, you know, so why hide it? So I've really been working on that. But my mom was, like, the worst at that. I mean, I rarely saw her eat. So now, about 2.5 years ago, this is actually what started my sisters and I on our health kick. Well, about 6 years ago is when my mom found out that she had stomach cancer. And it's a rare form of, you know, just a tumor in her stomach. Very, very rare. And she found out that she has that. Or she had that. So she had the surgery to have it removed. And then she went through chemo. So she really didn't eat a whole lot because she was throwing up from chemo. She lost she's like nothing now. Lots of loose skin, but nothing. As far as, like, she's just skin and bones. And she got into this. I mean, she's just throwing up all the time, not eating anything. So she has had, she had to have a tube because she could not eat. That's, you know, it took like 3 years after she was diagnosed with the cancer. The cancer's in remission, but through the, you know, she was on chemo for a year, and we all thought that she was just going to, like, get back to normal, but she never has. She's on a feeding tube. So now she doesn't eat anything. What she eats is, she has black licorice once in a time, and she eats Mentos all day. She says that helps her from throwing up. I mean, I'm sure it does help her from throwing up. Mint is really soothing. And, like, she'll suck on suckers and stuff like that. So basically the same type of stuff that she was doing before. And then she, the cans of food, you know. So I just see my mom, and I don't want to end up like that. She basically just lays in bed all day and watches TV and is on drugs. I mean, not drugs, but Vicodin for pain, her back pain. She's on muscle relaxers because her muscles are probably all atrophied. I mean, all she does is lay in bed. I mean, it's too hard for her to sit out, you know, out on the couch for 30 minutes. It's just in too much pain after sitting out there. So, you know, I'm not saying that all of this stemmed from her food issues. I think a lot of it probably did, because, you know, when you eat all that processed stuff. I mean, how can she deny that she knows for sure that the cancer didn't come from that, you know? But she does. She says it's not from that. It's, you know, it's just what happened. So, it's really hard to watch her. So that's kind of what caught, you know, all of my sisters and I to start, you know, eating healthier and helping our bodies more. And, obviously I've backslid a little bit, but I'm getting back on the right track. And so, yeah, I mean, I still see food issues with my mom, weight issues with my mom, because, you know, she's skin and bones. And we saw her, one brother and one sister and I, both my brothers and two of us sisters, we drove to, North Carolina for my dad's mom's funeral, my grandma's funeral. And they drove down from Florida, which was just horrible on my mom. She couldn't go to the funeral. It's just so weird that she was even there. She couldn't go to the funeral. She stayed in the hotel. I think she just wanted to see us, to be honest. But she was looking better. Like, she was gaining a little bit of weight, you know, like her face wasn't so sunken in and stuff like that. And my brother said that, oh, mommy, we call our parents mommy and daddy. They want us to call them that. So my brother says, my 46-year-old brother that calls his mom mommy because she requests that, said, mommy, oh, you're looking so much better. Like, your face is getting fuller. It looks like you're, you know, gaining a little weight. It looks so nice. And my sister and I both noticed my mom, like, it was a compliment, but she likes being skinny. She likes being skinny now, and I don't, you know, her words will say, you know, like, oh, you're so, you know, don't get too skinny, you don't, you know, it's not good being skinny and blah, 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 but then we could tell that she likes that. So it's really a whole sad situation with my mom, but I just want to kind of give you guys insight with that, with where I grew up and how my food issues kind of all started, because my mom did project those food issues on me at a pretty young age. I remember that, you know, most girls, when they went shopping for their mom, with their mom for clothes, and my mom is like the sweetest person. She is not like my grandma at all. This was not, you know, she was not trying to be mean or anything like that. But she, you know, if I tried something on and, you know, it made me look bigger than I was, which I look back at pictures, I was not big, but let's say I've always had a belly, and I've always had that. And I mean, not a big belly, but I've always had a belly. And, she would always say things weren't flattering. I mean, that's not flattering. You need to pick things that flatter your figure, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, if I ever have a daughter, I'm just going to say, you know what, that shows a little bit too much skin. I don't want guys to be looking at you in the wrong way. Like, I want you to keep yourself, you know, like, saying that things weren't flattering for me, like, just made me feel fat all the time. So I really didn't like going shopping with my mom too much. As far as, like, I liked going shopping with her, but not trying on clothes for her and stuff like that, because she did project that, you know, you need to wear bigger clothes or whatever. And, you know, black is always slimming, like those type of things. And I think everybody does that, but I did notice that she didn't eat, and I would always say, like, sit down and eat with us. She'd be like, no, I'm cleaning the kitchen and blah, blah, blah. And so I think that, you know, subconsciously I've picked up a lot of those things, those same things. So I'm working through a lot of my own food issues and, you know, just things I've picked up along the way. I was in a very abusive relationship, or my first marriage, which I'm really not old enough to be on my second marriage, but I was married from age 18 to 22. Got married right out of high school. Physically abusive and also very mentally abusive. Just very, you know, if I gained weight, you know, he would mention it, or, you know, he'd want me to lose weight, but he wouldn't want me to be on a diet, and just all this weird stuff. So, it's kind of a depressing time in my life. So I will actually cut myself off here because I do want to talk about my food issues maybe in a different vlog. But I just want to tell you guys about my mom's food issues today, and now I'm going into my food issues. So maybe tomorrow's vlog, or maybe I'll just stop this and then on my way home start my own vlog about my food issues, and then you can choose to watch it if you want to. But alright guys, I'll talk to you later. Bye!